Hello.
Hello.
So hopefully the mic will be a little better this week. I notice when I turn my head, it gets worse. So I'm going to try not to turn my head too much. But we have coffee and Panda. So that has kind of become our intro joke now. But this week we are talking about 12-week year, um, mantras and sigils, and habits, things we're leaving behind this year that we're picking up something new or some new approach for the next year for 2026. And also what we plan to read this next year. Because I know I have a forever long to be read list that is always growing, and I want to start going through and reading the books that I have. And the plan is any book that I bring in to go out. Um, that's kind of the rule with anything. So because we've been purging and stuff, but 12-week year. So that's primarily something I've been doing, where you basically, essentially, you're looking quarterly, but it's a Jedi mind trick. I have read bits and sections from the book, and I actually got the 12-week year for writers book accidentally. So that's on my to be read list for this next year. Is I want to read the writers one and the regular one. But essentially you break everything down into weekly increments so that it's more manageable, more bite size, and you treat each month as a week during that time. And then the 13th week you don't work. Not really realistic, but it's more focused on rest and reviewing the previous 12 weeks and then making a plan for the next 12 weeks. So I do the whole year out as a basic, kind of like the funnel planner that I have. And where the funnel planner is just, you've got all these different blank columns, and here's the stuff I want to accomplish this week. And then you have a daily breakdown, and you pull tasks for what days that you want to do those, and then the bottom part of schedule. So I love Passion Planner. I still use the forms and stuff for the daily stuff for Passion Planner, but this funnel system makes my ADD brain happier. So using that and utilizing 12-week year and being able to kind of break down and baby step everything really helps me. Hey,
Hello.
good afternoon. Well, good morning. Still good morning.
It's morning.
It doesn't feel like morning
Close enough
to
to
me.
morning.
But how are you doing today? Good to see you here. So 12-week year, it makes things a lot more manageable. Like I said, it's a Jedi mind trick because technically it's a quarterly thing, but it's really fine tuning things for you. And I actually find it has more flexibility because being ADD, I have to have buffer. If I'm having a bad fatigue day because I've got long COVID, if I have, just days where I'm brain fog, can't remember my name walking into the other room, then it's a little easier on me to be able to shift tasks with that funnel system and give myself, I have a whole week on this task versus these scheduled hourly things that just kind of annoy me. It feels like too much pressure, but at the same time, I also still have work hours. A little upset at Fox. She's ghosting me without reason. I'm not even sure who this is. Sorry, and probably not the appropriate place to do this. you can message me later because, sorry, I don't know who you are. And it's super busy this time of year for us. So um, if she's head down, she's not communicating with a bunch of people. She's usually off grid. So, um, but um, you're happy to, I'm happy to have you comment on what we're talking about and continue the discussion if you want. So 12-week year has been something that I was super productive with the first part of the year. And then I got off track because we had a lot of stuff going on earlier this year. And that, so around June, July, it became overwhelming because I got off track with that. So I'm got in more buffers for this next year and kind of loosening my load a little bit. I'm also trying to put in more time on the front end of things and planning. So that's one thing. And part of the lessening the load and making sure that I'm more productive is not doing resolutions. So we stopped doing yearly resolutions for a long time ago, and I practicing drawing faces. Awesome. I need to actually work more on my anatomy stuff. I was never good at drawing people. I was always good at drawing like animals and whimsical creatures, if not evident by my stickers, if and you know my work, and botanicals. Mm-hmm. But I actually want to create, and most of the botanicals that I draw are kind of my own made up plants based on different parts of other plants. But I'm actually doing studies now that I'm wanting to do more real plants and flowers and things like that. I'll tackle anatomy at some point, but one of the things I want to do with Illustration Club in the coming year is actually go through and tackle the stuff that I have a hard time drawing. And I have a very specific style in most things, but I can also mimic any style, hence the Renaissance Chameleon. That's what Renmeleon stands for. But, you know, being able to hone my skills, especially because I do illustrations for children's books, and I have a couple that are botanical heavy coming up. So that's definitely something I want to get more into. But practicing is awesome. So for the next year, habits and renewal and the mantras, the habits I want to make are more pleasure reading, because I read stuff for business.
I was just thinking intentional
reading. So we actually have started doing because we're horrible night owls. Like, it's not uncommon for us to be up till 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Me, 4:30, maybe even 5. So I still get up at a somewhat decent hour. So my sleep has been crap. And so with that, part of this overall mantra for this next year and the habits that we want to form, we've been doing like around 11:30 at night. We'll go sit out and watch one of those fireplace videos, because it's cozy, you know, one of those fireplace videos, and just sit and chat and have coffee or tea or you know, and kind of wind down, and then lights out by midnight. Just like, you know, no matter what we're doing, just try to get more sleep and make sleep more intentional. I always draw faces flat. Brother sent me a book teaching it, and now they're better. Awesome. Yeah, there's a book, Victor Perard's anatomy book. I'll post a link about it. If you can get a copy of it, or if you're in my Discord community, there's a PDF. But it's really super helpful. It's one of the best anatomy books that I've seen, and they really focus in on like hands, faces, eyes, the real problem areas for most people, feet, that kind of thing. When I originally started drawing, I would do people in situations or animals in situations where you didn't see their hands or you didn't see their feet. Always doing things too many and then burnout. Yeah. It's pacing yourself, and that's a big thing that I'm doing this year, and trying to cut down on the overwhelm is making it that I've condensed things, or I've gotten things off my plate that don't serve me and what my goals are. Getting rid of or backburnering some projects, or even combining projects, and just giving myself more breathing room, setting and intentionally sticking to office hours has been a big thing. And we're trying to get out more, as far as, with COVID, it was very easy to just stay home and then maybe occasionally take a drive. We still love just taking a random drive somewhere. It's always fun. But making things more intentional, that we're taking Tuesdays and Fridays to work on writing together. We're setting intentional reading time. One of the things I saw today on Blue Sky this morning was reading is an act of rebellion, especially in this, time with the way the world is. But being able to, says, if you read a book this year, I'm proud of you. Reading and literacy has become an act of rebellion in such an illiterate world. So I posted, let's rebel hard in 2026. What 3 books off your TBR? What are 3 books that you'll commit to reading in 2026 off your TBR? So I have several books that I've started that I haven't taken the time to do the audiobooks for, that I want to read. And I know he and I both have a ton of books that we haven't read. They're just sitting pretty on the shelf. So, yeah. But being able to sit down and read is important, whether it's business books, pleasure books, fiction, nonfiction, self-help, doing art books, doing writing books, setting that intentional time for yourself is important, because everything is way too fast nowadays. Same thing with the letter writing that I've gotten back into, and that I'm helping to promote. The Sunday Letter Project is out of the UK, and I've signed the petition and hopped on board. And I'm also, prior to finding that, I started Pip's little book of letter writing. So I'm working on that too. But, allowing space for yourself, like when you go to sleep, give yourself permission to just shut your brain off and take that amount of time, that 9 hours, if you can get it. Because your lymphatic system needs 9 hours to recharge. It's your brain's lymphatic system, basically. And, if you can get that block of time in and just allow yourself to be like, I'm offline for 9 hours so that I can function the rest of the time, and make that important, make that intentional, because sleep affects everything. And it just, it helps if you can do that. But coming up with a theme for the year. I've been using the be like the bison, finish, the universe is waiting for you.
No, not that kind of thing.
Okay. No. And
Say, looking at everything I've been looking at lately, I'm sensing a nautical slash wargaming hobby theme, but I'm like, no, they're not that kind of not that kind of
yeah, there's
theme.
gaming themes, but so what are some of the things in 2026 that you're wanting to be intentional about?
Again, like I said, there are several books that I would like to read this year. Usually that's about the extent of what I try to plan ahead of time. And with your funnel system, you were mentioning, having everything broken down hourly, as even as regimented as my mind operates, especially when I was working at the restaurant and everything had to be on a, I have to get this done now, and then that thing, and then this thing over here, and then these things are falling apart. And I had to do all of that within a certain amount of time. Even as regimented as my brain used to think that way, I can't think that way anymore. I don't like to think that way anymore.
Welcome to older people.
Well, no, it's just
that's part of it for me.
It's just, having to do everything like that. Again, it's that the world is quicker about everything, and you don't. There are so many other places that you go there, and it's like, wow, these people take a nap at 4:00 in the afternoon and have lunch with their family at 2:00, and then open their shop back up at 4:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, the world shuts down for nap.
If you go to Italy, don't expect anybody to be helping you with anything between like the hours of 2 and 4. Just, you're better off getting invited in and having lunch with them, because that's what they do.
Well, it's more of a it's more of a, like, we're definitely faster paced, but we're also money driven here. It's not necessarily that everywhere else. In fact, people everywhere else tend to look at us like we're crazy, and I don't blame them, because here in the United States, whether it's healthcare, I'm not getting into politics, but the whole, it's money here, and there's a lot of people are getting tired of that, and it's money's a necessary evil, but there's a lot of us that love the barter system, and okay, have a good day, but it's just, there's more important things. And mental well-being, and being able to, go outside, get away from the screens, nature. I'm a big tree person, so being out in the woods is a thing for me. It's a way for me to ground. Growing up in Florida, my oceans were, I'm total mermaid. Now I'm a mountain mermaid. So if I can, ground with water, a lot of people do earthing, which is where you take your shoes off and you go outside and you can walk around on the grass kind of thing. But for me, it's water. For me, and I'm a fairly tall person, and I have a bad knee right now, so I can't I do showers. I don't do baths. Being able to soak in a tub or in a swimming pool, though, was a way for me to ground. But going outside here, there's plenty of like creeks and waterfalls and different things like that. There's one waterfall that's actually paved. It's got a paved walkway up to it that you can view it from up top. So that's the only one other than roadside ones that you can kind of like pull in and hang out. I don't get to be around water as much as I used to. So I've had to kind of adapt. Plants are very grounding for me. I have quite a few. I want more. And they're good for breathing, for oxygen. So especially like snake plant. It's also called mother-in-law's tongue. We have a huge one in the kitchen, but they're really good for filtering your air. So getting, plants around your house, just different things that promote wellness, how you schedule things, what you make important, what you set time aside for. So for me, it's slowing down with letter writing and slowing down my read, because I read super fast, but my retention is crap. He reads slower and he remembers everything. So we both have started doing audiobooks with books. He's been reading more than I have, and I want to get back to my reading and start reading more. But having it that for him, it actually speeds up his reading, and for me, it slows me down. So that's something I want to be intentional, even if it's, first thing in the morning, I read a chapter, or first thing, it gets like cave light here, dark at night. So, morning would be better for reading for me. Plus it kind of gets my brain going, kind of wake myself up. I've made it that I'm intentionally going out and having my coffee on the couch, because otherwise I will linger in bed and work on the laptop or work on the iPad, and just to keep my legs up because with the lymphedema. But I don't necessarily want to be in the office yet. My office hours are 10 to 4. Sporadic on Wednesdays because I usually have other stuff, meetings, and that's when I do live streaming that night. And Monday I have meetings, so Mondays and Wednesdays are a little more flexible, but 10 to 4 generally, because I have a morning routine that I know he and I were breathing and stretching first thing in the morning and doing PT exercises and stuff for my knee or his back. And we kind of got away from that, and we need to get back into it. So we have this time for morning rituals, eating breakfast or sharing coffee together, and then start my day. When he was running 5,000 miles an hour at Panera for 12 years, even training management that came through, and anybody that came in the door, they had to go through him first. And we'd make a point of getting there a half an hour before he clocked in so he could ease into his day. I don't like hitting the ground running. Like if I'm at a job, I'm there early, sorting my desk, drinking coffee, whatever, but just, I don't want to like clock in and be right there. So that's an intentional thing too, is, planning ahead and making sure that you have time. Because I know that helped you a lot with.
Well, I mean, even Brett, when Brett was my GM, he would even come up to me 15 minutes before he wanted me to do a particular task. Like before I started in the morning, like if he wanted to offer me more time on the clock, he would come up to me at like 7:15, say, "Hey, do you want to start at 7:30? I'll give you that extra half an hour, and then I want you to get this thing done for me before you start doing your regular stuff." And that at least gave me an option to go, okay, 15 minutes from now, I'll start here. I'll get this extra time, and I'll go do this thing, and then I can start, and that it just gave me more time on my ticket too, so.
He was he
even knew the habit,
Yeah.
So
first of all, he makes me tired just watching him. And it took literally when he left, when we moved to Kentucky, he got a referral from Brett and got, referral letters from a couple of people. And they were pretty much, he's legendary. Like they wanted 10 more people like him to be able to go through these other stores. And the other store took 4 people at the one store to replace him.
Mm-hmm. And the other store was smaller.
The other store, it took 3 people in the smaller store to replace him. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but he started out, he set the bar really high. Anytime he does any kind of, job or anything like that, he's right here and just makes me tired watching him. But he's good at what he does. And he was always very regimented and very, this is my time schedule kind of thing, especially because you had to track coffee. You had to track the dining room. You had to track
creamer, lemons.
You had to do all that.
Sugar, dirty tables. bus tubs,
little
trash bags,
little
everything.
ladies that come in and steal the sugar.
Anything that needs refilling or emptying needed to be checked, and then there were other things that had time sensitivity as well. The sweet tea, the iced tea, the different coffees. The creamer was every 4 hours, so I mean that got swapped out.
His schedule
everything
made me tired.
Yeah.
But and it's good that they're like that. I like that about them. But I just wish it wasn't, $20 a head now. I can go to Olive Garden for less than that. But anyway, but setting, being gentle with yourself, but also pushing yourself to be a better version of who you were the day before, or pushing yourself to, don't throw yourself outside your comfort zone, but kind of nudge yourself outside your comfort zone. Like I started reading genres that I didn't usually read, sci-fi, horror, that kind of thing. And I found some really cool books. And it's, the mantra thing is better than a resolution, because resolutions, when we set those, that's setting yourself up for guilt if you can't keep up with it. And a lot of people end up, they're great January, February, maybe, and by March, they are hating it. So I started doing themes. 1 year it was Someday Is Now. And all the things that we kept saying, oh, we'll do this someday, we're like, no, we're going to do it now. So travel, if we were able to, we didn't do Europe like we wanted to. We did like Arizona or Colorado. We went and saw family, or even just taking a overnight somewhere, or even just a day trip. A lot of times we do a day trip, someplace that's, within 2 hours a year, that we can just drive, spend the day, and come back. And it's that intentionality and having a theme for the year makes all the difference in the world. I've been using Be Like the Bison, Finish, the Universe is Waiting for You. Before that, it was Finish, the Universe is Waiting for You, until I saw Jonah Jitten's thing on the bison, where bison, when they sense storms, they actually head into them to get through on the other side faster. There's some debate on whether or not that's true, but I claim it and it works for me. But to me, it's about doing the hard things first. And I still have to do some tweaks. I'm kind of figuring out what I'm going to do for 2026, because I've been using that one for a while now, and I want to kind of up the ante this year. And I have a book, How to Design Sigils for Everyday Magic, that I wrote on how to make sigils, and it's kind of a reliquary because you can store up to 100 in there with an index. And so I usually do some kind of a sigil for whatever my mantra is going to be. So coming up with a general overview idea of what you want to accomplish this year, versus setting a bunch of, resolutions. It's a little gentler way to look at it, for me at least. So, and whatever works for me may or may not work for somebody else. Find your own footing with that, and pick 3 things that you want to accomplish over the year, and then reverse engineer it. But like I said, do it in the ways that you will do it. Don't let anybody tell you, oh, you have to do this, 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 and this. That may not work for you. So, really be honest with yourself, and play on your strengths, play on the things that, work for you. And that's pretty much all I have for for that. So we're gonna try and keep this the episodes to 30 minutes ish. We went long on the last couple. But just hang in there. Next week is Christmas, so we might pop in and say hello and Merry Christmas. We might do it with the whole family. Who knows? We'll see what's going on that day. But we love you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we're looking forward to this next year. And we're being gentle with ourselves and working on being a little more structured. But it's mostly just been we just chat. So, but thank you so much for being here. Stay well, stay safe, be warm wherever you are, because it's getting colder. And wear your mask, wash your hands, take care of each other. And we will see you next week.